Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions Podcast Network.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind the scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Weird Way Media.
Welcome to Rankin Bass, an offhand joke that became a long-running podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me is a dancing frog, Mr. Chris Dashu.
On this episode of Rankin Bass, the most important question asked will be answered. Who can do better? Who can? God damn it. He fucked it up. Who can do hip-hop better than a frog can? Straight frogs, that's who.
Yes, very important distinction. Also with us is a man who brought Christmas spirit to the hood, Mr. Richard Haddam. He's a regular white savior.
Hey, I'm Santa, baby. Not Santa, baby. I'm Santa, baby.
Baby. Yes, the pause is important.
I bet you're wondering how I got here. Let me tell you. It's Heptune Street, baby.
Oh, she didn't quite, yeah, I see what you're doing, but she didn't quite do it. No.
Oh, right. You've heard of...
She's like, look at the street. It looks great now. It didn't always look this way.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you why.
Go back in time, and I'm the magical partridge from the song.
Right. She says that. She straight up goes, remember that song that you've heard? They're talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even think they ever break out the song. She just throws stuff out, and I was just like, oh, I bet you 5 golden rings is going to be the last thing she says.
Oh, my God. Ugh.
But instead, she can summon milkers and throw milk in Gregory Hines' face. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about Rankin Bass. We are coming to the end of the Rankin Bass podcast. There's a couple more episodes to go, but we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. We are talking about Santa, Baby from 2001, as well as the comic strip. No, not the one with Ade Edmondson and Rick Mayall and those guys. We're talking about the comic strip, which aired 1987 to 1988. And my gosh, I'm surprised they lasted that long. That was an animated anthology of 4 different cartoons, and we'll talk about it. Probably we'll talk about the commercials that played during those cartoons even more, knowing us. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about some Santa, baby.
Otherwise known as this is what happens when we just go apeshit with talking animals.
Holy cow, yeah.
Hey, don't you just hate all the things we've been doing for the longest time over and over again? We're going to do it 10 times more than we've ever done it before.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode. Wow.
This is how you know your project is animated. They're talking animals and magic. So we've got Melody Songbird is the mistress of ceremonies for this, telling us the story. She is the partridge from the Partridge in the Pear Tree. And she's telling the story about how Noel, a songwriter voiced by Gregory Hines, is having trouble writing a big Christmas hit, I think is what he's looking for, a hit song.
He just wants a hit song, yeah. But I guess, if you're really smart, you're going to get that hit Christmas song because they're going to trot that sucker out every single year. I'm already being subjected to Mariah Carey. Come on. It's October, folks.
Right. Yes.
I mean, everybody knows that any songwriter worth their salt is trying to cement themselves in the annals of history by writing a Christmas song, because that's effectively what Rankin and Bass did, isn't it? And that's the weirdly meta thing about this. It's like it's a movie about a guy who can't write a song that anybody cares about at Christmas time. And I'll tack on the word anymore in reference to Rankin and Bass. And actually, my favorite thing about this is, speaking of the idea of this entire character's motivation is to write a Christmas song, Melody Songbird goes, "I will grant you one wish, daughter of the guy trying to figure out the song. I want my dad to come up with a Christmas song." Well, fuck you. I can't do that. That's literally the response when she goes, "You can have any wish that you want, except for that one."
Well, it is weird because she says it'll take too long. And then and then the girl says, "Well, please." And she's like, "Well, okay." And then
negotiation skills. Yeah.
Right. And then she sort of embarks on what really is sort of a lengthy plan. Because apparently it can't just be, okay, I'm going to implant the song in his head. He's, because it's a Christmas story, it's got to be about personal transformation because of the inherent miracle of the season. And as it touches individual people, they become transformed. So she needs him to essentially stop thinking about himself. And it takes a minute because it sort of looks like we're not really clear on what his problem is at the beginning, other than he's in a bad mood and he really wants to write this song. And so in that way, he is very self-centered, and he sort of is kind of clashing with his wife, clashing with his daughter. And then we learn throughout the episode at a certain point, all these things he's being told to do or forced to do is to get him to stop thinking about himself and start thinking about others.
Just like
but he doesn't start out as Ebenezer Scrooge. So
yeah, he doesn't get visited by 3 ghosts. He gets visited by a talking bird and a talking cat, though I don't think he can hear the cat talking.
Yeah.
And nobody can see the magic of the bird unless she wants you to.
It's a much more modern story of Christmas angst, which is typically around the Christmas season. We do get very wrapped up in, oh my God, okay, we've got to buy presents, our relatives are flying in, or we've got to get on an airplane. There's like a lot of stuff going on that makes you tense and puts you in a bad mood. Maybe you do have to work late into the season or over Christmas, and that puts people in a bad mood. And which is, again, a very modern sort of, that's why Christmas is not good this year. But there always does come that moment, if you're really trying, where you do finally go, okay, you know what? I got to forget all that. Just be in the moment. Just be with your family. Just enjoy yourself. Just enjoy the season. Find a little grace. That's kind of what this one's about. I think it falls into that category.
Well, it definitely feels like something written in the early 2000s for children. As a child who would have been 11 years old when this came out, it feels very much written for the audience. What's crazy is Suzanne Collins is one of the 2 names on this. AKA Suzanne Collins, who wrote the fucking Hunger Games books.
Right. She went from Melody Songbird to Mockingjay in Death and Frat.
Yeah, what's crazy because again, like I've read the first Hunger Games book. It's fine.
I like it.
It's fine, right? Like, I mean, it's more approachable YA fiction than some of this. Yeah. It's more adult than it is young adult. I'm surprised by how lackluster this is, given her writing abilities as an author, because it kind of just feels. I don't think the word pandery is the right word, but it doesn't do anything to set itself apart from like anything else that was around at the time, or even the best of Rankin stuff, other than it having a somewhat updated animation style. It's kind of a weird mix of the two. The characters are very different, more contemporary, choices are being made, but then the environment looks shockingly poor, like it used to in the 70s and 80s animations that they were doing on Ranks, that we've again talked about before as not being the best examples of the things that they were doing. I would really ask a question at the beginning of this, which is, why isn't this just Animagic? Like, like.
Well, in the book,
right? Well, that has got to be good.
It might cost too much. It might have taken too long. In the book, they tell the story about how the genesis of the project was we're going to go to Coca-Cola and we're going to say, Coca-Cola, this is going to be your Christmas special next year. And they pitched it. And I guess Arthur Rankin, was like, okay, but the only way we're going to do this is if we'll fly to Atlanta. We'll go to, and I've been there, by the way. I've been to the World of Coke in Atlanta. It's it's kind of fun. You go, it's like a Coke museum. And then at the end, you get to drink all the Coke you want and go through the Coke gift shop. And you didn't realize you needed, Coca-Cola pajamas. But man, when you're there, you feel like you do. Anyway, they wanted to go to this office. And Arthur was like, we'll go to Atlanta. We'll go meet with you. We'll pitch, but we need an answer in the room. This can't be you guys take 6 months because we got to get to work right away. If you want this, we got to get on it. So we go, we pitch, you tell us in the room, yay or nay. They went, they pitched, they got a yay. So they set to work at, breakneck speed. I think one of the things that distinguishes it, obviously, and the Rankin Bass specials have been slowly clawing their way toward this, but it's a predominantly African-American cast and voice cast. You have Gregory Hines, Patti LaBelle, Vanessa Williams, and Eartha Kitt. And they're great. They're really great. That's what I would say. That's kind of what makes this whatever amount of fun we have watching it. It's because of them.
Yeah. When I was watching it with my wife, she goes, wow, this is really different. I was like, yeah, it's almost like Rankin and Bass is making up for the fact that it's been shockingly white this whole time.
It's been a white Christmas.
It's been a
decade.
Yes, it has.
And, again, we wouldn't comment it other than the fact that, there were episodes of Rankin and Bass stuff where they were verging on and were essentially racist, or at least playing into racial stereotypes. And some of this does too. I mean, it's set on Heptune Street, and it's like this, it's like, what is this? Do the Right Thing, the animated special? Like, it's weird because, again, everything else Rankin and Bass has done has been so sanitized. And again, you use the term whitewashed. I wouldn't say that far, but again, it's very undiverse in terms of, and Santa Claus is black in this special. Like, right. Which is a thing I've actually not seen in most things, if anything, frankly. And I was like, wow, okay, that's a really important choice to make. And I think it's one that does work here. It's just, I wish this wasn't 2001.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't 2010 for the Twitterverse to go crazy.
My Black Santa.
In 2001, being diverse and being, sort of conscious of diversity, what that meant was white guys bringing people of color into their cast.
Mm-hmm.
But it was predominantly still white guys and a small smattering of white women writing and producing and directing the material.
Okay.
If this was redone today, it wouldn't be Suzanne Collins. It would be, there would be an African-American director, writer. It would be if that's what was going to be represented on the screen, then it would be people bringing that representation, who are in that, who are of the race that is being represented. In other words, okay, it would not be a Rankin and Bass's idea of what Black people are going to do in, part of New York City.
Yeah, two white folks writing a African-American led Christmas special. The optics of that are a little strange. Yes, but I guarantee you at the time, right. No,
they were like, we're so forward thinking, and it's fine, and they were. I mean, for that time,
agreed.
That was the best you had. And I'm sure Gregory Hines and all of them came in and went, well, at least they're doing something.
Right. Well, and that's the thing that I always try to reinforce is the idea of like where we are now is such a far step from that, and it has to be viewed within the context of how it happened, not necessarily why. We can't control the why, but this is how it happened. This is the way it was, and it's thankfully moved far. I mean, far is going to be defined by whoever the fuck is saying it, but we're farther down the road than we were. And it's always measured in inches, not in miles. The thing that's kind of unfortunate about this entire special is it doesn't if it has African-American characters, again, three of us are white, so we're not able to define it any more than they are, but I don't think it really speaks to the African-American experience. The characters just happen to be Black. Right. And that's just kind of like, again, doesn't feel good, doesn't feel bad. It just is what it is, but we have to that is what this is. The color of the character skins doesn't dictate the story. It kind of feels like they want to, and I'm glad that there's no white savior character either.
And I think it affects the style of the music,
right?
Which I think they said, okay, well, this should be hip hop, this should be, soul, this should be, there's a little bit of rap in there, for 2001, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's where that is. I will say that Coca-Cola, because one of the best parts of the Coca-Cola Museum is this little theater, and so as you're wandering through, you can just sort of take a little, right turn into this little theater area, and it's this on an endless loop, this sort of not even a documentary, just like, okay, here are the Coca-Cola commercials throughout history, throughout the world. So it'll be like, Portugal, 1990, and you'll see the commercial. Or America, 1971, back when it was, I want to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I want to buy the world a Coke.
Yeah, that was one of Don Draper's best.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Don Draper. He wrote that one.
Oh, okay. But they have been typically extremely diverse from the beginning. I mean, I think they can claim that in terms of their advertising. Now, advertising, of course, is by its own nature sort of predatory. It's going to try to appeal to everyone. And Coca-Cola was like, well, we want people. We don't just want white people buying our product. So we're going to have people of all cultures represented.
I'm surprised that the guy who gave us The King and I, which we talked about a few months ago, because he and Collins were a writing duo for several things, because they worked on Generation O, the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo, which is interesting that was a Asian girl-led series from 1998 that I didn't know existed. But I'm glad that he didn't play into the racial stereotypes like he did with The King and I. So at least the talking animals here are not too offensive, and neither are the villains. Though the biggest villain of the piece basically is the Scrooge character. I thought that was kind of nice that they made I guess he's the landlord or something, and made him into the bad guy.
He's like the superintendent landlord of the building.
Yeah.
He doesn't like animals.
He doesn't
That's
like
why
animals.
he's bad guy.
And I can't blame them when they have such a weird mix of animals that he keeps chasing, including a lobster, which is just running around the streets.
And a pig, a giant pig.
A giant pig, yeah, and a lizard of some sort. And then you got, your dogs and cats and stuff, including the cat that forms a bond with him and really melts his heart, makes him into, a better version of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is very low stakes. This special is just for fun. No, you're not going to get scared. Like when I was a little kid and I watched Rudolph, I got scared. The Bumble was scary. I was afraid of the magician in Frosty, Frosty the Snowman. I'm like, he's killing Frosty. He's locking him in a greenhouse. This is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like that here. We're here to have a good time. A guy needs to write a song. There's a lot of fun animals. The bad guys aren't so bad. The good guys are all really good. He's in a good marriage. He's not a mean guy. It's like, this is not supposed to stress anyone out.
I think the real missed opportunity in the special is having the main character be the daughter, because she is an uninteresting character. And again, you're just a precocious little child who speaks like this. I mean, she even has that like annoying child patois that they trot the little child, like cute precocious child thing out immediately. And I just, oh, for fuck's sake, Rankin and Bass has not done that for the most part. They have not gone to the well of like, oh, I need help, Daddy. Like, no, most of the time the children have more autonomy than that. I mean, a lot of the times in some of the earlier specials, the children were the ones helping to resolve the outcome. Here, she just goes, I want my daddy to have a wish. And then again, Patti Labelle, the pie-slinging bird, goes, fuck you, I can't do that wish, which is the weirdest part of this for me. Is, again, like, we're not really clear as to what the rules are with any of this, and how strange the special gets at the end, where all of a sudden, you think it's over. And it's like, oh, there's 10 minutes left. All of a sudden, it becomes Tim Allen in the Santa Claus. Out of nowhere. Yeah. Completely randomly. And I was like, wait a second. So she was an agent of Santa Claus this entire time?
Mm-hmm. It almost feels like that's like in a contract somewhere. It's like the final minutes have to be Santa's ride. And however you want to get there is up to you, but you got to get there.
I really found, I mean, I didn't find this special to be that, I don't know, grating, but I did not feel like it justified the length that it had, which is 44 minutes. And again, that just comes back to this whole idea of like, all right, we're used to the Rankin and Bass style of storytelling. This is very much in line with that. But I don't know, it feels like it just can't come out and say what it's trying to say very quickly. It seems like it just wants to do everything that these specials have done before, but this time it's in 2001 as opposed to 1965, and then it's like, we've seen this before. Again, it's not a problem, but
it's weird because I'm telling you with especially with Christmas stuff, but I mean, for me personally, I'm going to say with everything, if you don't nail theme early on, and if you don't nail the main character's issue early on and just say it, then we're all kind of sitting around going, well, what are we supposed to care about? Like, I actually think they should have done a little more about going, hey, you're kind of ruining Christmas because you're so obsessed about this thing. And there's people in the world who have much bigger problems. And then we need him to go, well, it doesn't matter. All I care about are my problems. And the reason I need to do this, because that's also unclear. It's like they live in a pretty nice apartment, it looks like. It's not like, you don't understand. If I don't have come up with a hit song, we're out in the street with the rest of those losers outside the window. We're going to be in worse shape than those animals. Like it's as didactic as that is, it actually helps an audience go, well, okay, at least I know what the game is about and what the game board is and what I'm hoping for along the way. Otherwise, I'm like, when they turn him into Santa Claus and they plop him down in the street and that's the end of Act 1, yes, there's a part of me that knows what it's going to be about, but there's a part of me going, why am I caring about any of this? And why is this particularly difficult for him? It's like, okay, you're dressed up as Santa, so who cares? Just ring your bell for a while.
Embarrassed, and he's like, "Oh, I can't let my wife see me like this," and keeps trying to hide from her. I'm like,
right, and then she shows up and loves it. She's like, "This is hot. You're my Santa baby." I'm like, this is the greatest thing that ever happened. I'd keep that suit in the closet upstairs for date night.
I think the issue with any of these things boils down to setting it in the real world. Because almost all these Rankin and Bass specials have not been set in what we, again, would consider some sort of like relatable reality. It's understood that when the Bumble and, Hermie are existing, that they're existing in a fantasy world. This is meant to be New York City in the early 2000s. Again, like it all rings very hollow because all of these Rankin and Bass specials don't take place in there, other than the ones that I guess I guess the first Christmas snow, again, is kind of the real world, but again, they're not interacting with real world problems. It's more of like the problems of the season. This is not the problems of the season. This is like a real life problem that's now becoming like a Christmas story. Because you could just say, well, I don't know how to write Christmas music, or you don't know how to write music, period.
Right.
Christmas or not. And it's like, well, then why does this have to be set at Christmas? Oh, because it's a Rankin and Bass thing and they're known for Christmas stuff. Ultimately, they're known for Christmas stuff. This is set at Christmas.
Right. The other way to go, which I think could have worked for this, is the old, you don't believe in magic. We got to get you to believe in Christmas magic. So he could be the one going, honey, we got to tell her it's not Santa Claus. I mean, she's 10 years old. We got to let her know. And she thinks that some magic is going to happen and find a home for all these animals. And magic just, hey, look, we're in New York. We're in not the best part of New York. There's no magic. And it's like, well, honey, but not even at Christmas. Can't we just let her dream a little longer? No, I think we got to tell her. We do that. And then the magic bird comes along. And then I have a wish. And then by the end, he's like, you know what? There is magic. If anything proved it, it's that goddamn bird. And I wrote a song. And suddenly my fortunes have turned around. You know what? I was wrong. Always believe in magic, honey. I think that almost would have worked better for this, for exactly all the things that happen in this special.
Your earlier point about this not being animagic, I don't know why they didn't hire the company that was doing the PJs, because they were working at this exact same time. I think the PJs ended in 2001, and that would have been perfect. And I think they were also a Fox TV series, because we forget that Fox in pretty much all through the 90s was very African-American centric. I mean, that was the channel that In Living Color was on, and it just kind of started from there and took off, which was great. I mean, it was a really nice thing to be able to have African-American programming.
Yeah. And then that, again, that's why to me, it's just like, this feels like an attempt to cash in. It doesn't really feel like, I don't know. And again, like, but having Patti LaBelle and Gregory Hines and Vanessa Williams obviously helps. I mean, I'm not going to say at least there's no voice of Paul Frees, but it would have felt odd in this if he had been, if he had been one of the main characters in the way that he's been before. There's part of this that feels like decision by committee. I don't know. This feels like it's lost the soul of Rankin and Bass, and it is very much like a corporate-y thing that, we're going to try to make a modern Christmas classic. This came out December 17th, 2001, the same year 9/11 had. Like, it's, it's weird because it's a New York thing, and then 9/11 happens the same year. And I don't know why this isn't a modern Christmas classic. I have my druthers, and we've kind of already mentioned a little bit of it, but isn't that the intent of any Christmas thing by Rankin and Bass, is to try and recapture that, being part of the zeitgeist the way that they were in the 60s and 70s. And this just, they swing really hard, but man, don't, their heart, it doesn't feel like that their heart wasn't in the right place. It's just, I don't understand why some decisions were made that kind of makes us feel a little bit more hollow than most of the Rankin and Bass specials we've seen.
Yeah, especially when you do have a ton of musical talent, voice talent. And it's not, it's not hard to watch. It's just it's not as engaging as it should be. And the music is nice. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is that you can listen to the soundtrack on Spotify. Like, the soundtrack exists as a thing that you can put into your Christmas Eve mix or whatever, but I didn't stumble upon any song that I loved so much that I was like, oh, that's the one I want to hear again and again, so I'm going to pull that and put it in my mix. And
it's definitely not the song that Noel's trying to write throughout, because Heart and Soul of Christmas, again, it verges on kind of being offensive. Like, again, like, oh, got to get that soul back into Christmas. Like, this is kind of, sort of, a little bit not great. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's not a memorable song. So the moment I stop thinking about it as a song worth listening to, I just start listening to it for what it feels like, which is an attempt at cashing in on what we've been known for being successful. It just, this is so corporate-y, even more corporate-y feeling than The King and I felt, which again, we kind of roasted that for having the talking animals and like, this checks almost every single box of like things that Rankin and Bass has done. That's just like, wow, congratulations for trying. But
to me, this leaves far less of a bad taste in my mouth than than King and I. And I love King and I. I mean, that's music that I love. I would say if you're out there and you love Rankin Bass and you're kind of interested in like exploring deeper into their Christmas shelf, give it a shot. You may find it charming, and you may go, you know what? I like it. I like the songs. I don't mind having this on in the background while I'm making cookies. I would not necessarily warn anyone off of this.
I will say good luck finding it, though, because Rankin Bass clearly doesn't have any interest in making it available the way that they've made, essentially everything else available.
Well, you can get it on Amazon Prime.
I know, but I mean, like, in terms of like, they're not touting this. This is not in any of the box sets that they release with anything else. It's just a forgotten thing that, you said, you can go watch it on Amazon Prime, but it's not being mentioned in the same conversation as, oh, look, I've got the Bumble merchandise on my desk, or, Heat Miser Tiki mugs type thing. Like, there's nothing from this that is even memorable to the point of Rankin Bass attempting to make it memorable. And look, now in 2023, I kind of feel like this might have, Patti Labelle is probably as big or bigger than she's ever been, and she's a main part of this. I mean, most of the people in this, at least, I guess Gregory Hines has passed away, but Vanessa Williams and Patti Labelle are both around. So I don't know, Rankin Bass could, or, whoever owns the rights to this could take advantage of it. Because again, it is still an African-American led Christmas special, and it's not like there are still a lot of those at the moment either. Well,
it's funny. It's like there's just a handful of things that are classics, and then the giant slag pile that are not, that are, range from okay to unbearable. But it's the same thing with Charles Schulz. It's the same thing with Charlie Brown. There's the triumvirate, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Those are the three Charlie Brown specials you want to watch. And frankly, you basically just want to watch the Christmas one. And yet there's a million others. They made a bunch, and they're not terrible. They're just not, it's not Charlie Brown Christmas. So they're not, no one's pushing them. No one's worried about, hey, you're not watching, it's time to go to camp, Charlie Brown.
Oh, let's dig deeper. Let's talk about the comic strip. Oh boy.
You were so excited to watch this, Mike.
Well, I was more excited about the commercials.
We were. I mean, I think we all collectively.
Yeah.
No, just the two of you. I was not. I was dreading this like I was taking poison. And I just want to say right now, I was correct.
Yeah.
Sure about that?
This is a collection of 4 different cartoons, and then inside of those sections they have multiple episodes, which I was very surprised about. I thought it was going to be like a half an hour episode per segment, but no, it's like 2 or 3. Oddly, the one that we watched, there are credits after the first episode of TigerSharks, and then there are more TigerSharks on that same recording, which is odd. TigerSharks, Karate Cat, Street Frogs, The Mini Monsters. Where do we start? Want to start Mini Monsters, talking about these 2 disgusting shit children that go to camp, which it's very similar to the Munsters for me, as far as these 2 kids are very unfazed by everyone around them being monsters, which is kind of nice. Actually, I take that back. Well, yeah, I guess that was correct. But yeah, so they just want to be at camp because they hate their life and they want to be away from their parents that never remove the objects in front of their faces, which is kind of nice. And yeah, they send these kids to camp, and then they have adventures with like Dracula Jr., Frankenstein's son. I don't know how that works. Wolfman's son, Creature from the Black Lagoon's son, the Mummy's son, the Invisible Man's son.
They all had sons.
Yeah, nobody had a daughter except for Jinx the Witch. Yeah, even Merlin has his son here.
Some of the names are really creative, and some of them are really lazy. Like
Dracky,
or Frankie,
Wolfie,
Dracky, Wolfie, Frankie, Mummy,
or it's Mummo.
Yeah,
Lagoony.
I think what the Invisible Man's son is named Blanco, I believe is his name.
Yeah,
because Invisibly just doesn't ring. This doesn't ring as well as Blanco does.
There's that weird camp counselor guy who just announces things in the distance, I guess. Okay.
It's yeah. I mean, this Julian P. Gardner wrote this, which I think isn't that Jules Bass again? Isn't that his pseudonym once again?
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's
what?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
We talked about this on the last episode, remember? Because there was
I don't remember the last episode.
That's not on me. What was it that we watched in the last episode?
I have myself partially lobotomized, so I'm unable to watch another.
Watching
another
some of this
week.
content would lead me to believe we've probably all already been lobotomized partially, but I'm pretty sure that that's Jules Bass again.
It totally is, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's...
Yeah, because Julian Jardinier or whatever, he directed whatever we watched last time.
Yeah. The Mini Monsters is shockingly disappointing. I think it's the one I'm disappointed by the most because it was the one I felt like had the most potential, just given the setup of like, oh, you're going to get to see all of the... It's like Animaniacs, like fucking Tiny Toons, but Universal Monsters. Like, how does that not sound like a good idea? Oh, well, let me show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like we want. I mean, again, the only way I can sort of reconcile at least the first three: Karate Cat, Mini Monsters, and not Thundercats, Street Frogs. Is that like what age is this aimed at? Like this is not 12-year-olds. This is aimed at like 8-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very young. So it's like the monsters aren't going to be scary. They're going to be goofy. All the jokes are going to be very like the oldest puns and the oldest turns of phrase. Because
you know what this is? This is Mad Monster Party again.
Yeah, it's what it feels. That's all I can think of is Mad Monster Party again. Like,
but even like not even as edgy somehow.
Yeah, it's worse.
Oh, yeah.
This has to just be like non-offensive.
There's no Phyllis Diller in this one. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were 12, I would be bored by this, I think. I mean, it's so hard to know. I'm 56. I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, I know my physical reaction to this, but if I was 8 years old, would I be like, no, this is cool? No, not me. I would have had to be 4 years old to tolerate this. By 8, I was watching hour-long dramas on network television. I would have called bullshit on this.
Richard was watching The Paper Chase.
What?
You were watching The Paper Chase.
Yeah. No, but I was watching The Night Stalker when I was 8 years old.
That's true. We do know that for a fact.
Yes.
Yeah. And so if I'm watching The Night Stalker and then you show me this bullshit, I'm going to be like, fuck no. Where's Vincenzo?
Right.
Well, that kind of is, I mean, you mentioned the big problem here. And the problem is like all of these comic things are fine separately, but when you mash them together, I have really no idea who is meant to enjoy this show. Because this first one is for children. And then Street Frogs, I think it's the most shameless of shameless, which is
oh boy.
it's just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but really, really lame.
I mean, it's not even Battletoads worthy.
No. And look, TMNT is, TMNT has been around since 84. So this is 3 years post the start of the comics, but the cartoon was not out yet.
I think it was because the first TMNT movie came out in the very early 90s, and I was playing the arcade game at the theater I worked at, and that was 1990.
Okay, so it was 87. This was the same year as the cartoon, so they probably didn't even see the cartoon yet. They just knew that it was coming out. These all just feel like derivative ripoffs of things that already exist. That's what this really feels like. Just like TigerSharks is clearly Thundercats. Karate Cat is
Hong
Kong Phooey.
Yeah. And then, Street Frogs is TMNT, and Mini Monsters, I guess, is like their attempt at a Looney Tunes style of cartoon where it's like, oh, we've got all these recognizable characters being zany and wild, except it's not fun. It's just so boring. Like, how did you fuck up Mini Monsters this badly? Because it's just like, well, it's just enough that we have these recognizable characters. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, no one's breaking a sweat making these things, and you can see it. They're phoning it in. And yeah, I mean, the frogs, I didn't get at all.
I liked the frogs, actually. If we're talking the things that were the best of the four, the frogs are the best one because it's so bizarre and nonsensical and strange that it's looks like TMNT, but then it ends up being Happy Days. Like, is that not what it is? Like, all of a sudden you just got these racking frogs who are performing music together. Like, it's like Squiggy and the Squigtones. Like, they're not fighting. They're not doing karate. They're singing songs on the street because they're street frogs. Like,
well, they're like the Jacksons and the Osmonds.
Yes.
They're just a bunch of plucky kids trying to get a record contract.
And they hang out at a diner where the guy who owns the diner is a complete degenerate dickhead.
Well, because he is a turtle and these are frogs.
Yeah.
It's very, you never the twain shall meet.
It's true.
Yeah, because frogs are amphibians and turtles are reptiles. You don't want to mix those two. That's like the Bloods and the Crips.
It's true. But I did want to mention something in Mini Monsters that we didn't get a chance to mention, which is a child being turned into a cat 2 minutes into it, and then just being like, "Oh, hey, you know what? Like, nobody gives a shit anymore. So you're a cat now for like a while." Yeah, it's just like, what? This is horrifying. Now it's horrifying too. Like it went from like kind of being fun to now your brother's a cat. What are you gonna do about it?
The stakes are just very low in this show. Like the alien invasion one, where it's like this little Marvin the Martian who's just like, these people are idiots. I'm going to take over this whole place, and just keeps calling the chief alien and just keeps talking about how fat the alien is. I'm like, what?
It's that, and then there's no interaction between the kids and the monsters. It's like, well, shouldn't this show be about how the kids and the monsters are developing a friendship, together and learning from each other? It's like, oh, you guys are weird because you're normal, like you said, the monsters things. But we thought you guys were weird because you're monsters.
Right.
Oh, but over this summer, we're going to become friends. But in that episode, they don't interact at all. The monsters are totally unaware that there's an invasion going on. The boy and the girl they do something. I guess they sneak into the UFO and kind of re-engineer it to malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
And then they physically threaten the alien, and the alien flies away in a broken UFO.
In a huff. Yeah. And if he doesn't leave sooner, he'll leave in a minute and a huff.
He's flying around in an HUFO.
Yes.
A huffo.
Right.
Yeah. And the third one's about a bellyache that they have. I'm just like, what are we doing here? It was all very rough. But yeah, Battletoads was not a favorite. Even though, I like the idea of it being Happy Days with street frogs.
And
with frogs.
They're not Battletoads. They're street frogs.
Sorry.
They don't engage in any violence.
No.
Nobody can hip hop better than a frog.
It's true.
Which is something weird. I never knew that before.
Right? Who can do hip hop better than a frog can? No one.
No
They hippity hop all the time. It's because they're hip hopping frogs. They hip and hop to move around.
Right.
Richard, you mentioned how old you are right now, and I'd like to point out, because we mentioned we were going to talk about the commercials. The commercial that stood out to me is Wilford Brimley's 53 years old in that commercial for oatmeal.
God, I love
He's 53 years old. He looks like he's 90 years old selling oatmeal.
Right.
Well, I'm going to make some oatmeal for your sister. It'll take about 30 seconds. What a magical thing. How quaint it is to be excited to make instant oatmeal. Am I right? Quaker Oats. Now brought to you by Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was very popular in the 80s. He was in, a few movies that you would have known him for.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it is funny though, because these are commercials that were playing in 1987. I graduated college in 1988.
Wow. So you're watching these.
Yeah.
I got it.
I mean, this was not prime cartoon viewing time for me. I was 20 years past that.
Telling me you didn't get drunk on a Saturday morning or hungover and were watching the comic strip with your college roommate?
Dude, let me just tell you two depressing facts. I lived at home when I went to college, and I never drank.
Wow, that is depressing.
Third depressing fact, you did watch this.
Yes, exactly. But I was up early watching this while I did my sit-ups. No.
Well, the crazy thing is what we watched is like 2 hours because it had the 30 minutes of commercials. Like you mentioned, Mike, it didn't stop here. It ran for a whole year of this. Like, why? Rankin it like you know what, Richard, here's the answer to your question. Kids in the 80s must have liked it because it ran for a year.
Well, you get that
but no, that
show
doesn't mean
order.
anything.
I know.
They bought it for a year. They delivered a year.
Yeah, but
that had nothing to do with it. 0 people could have watched it, and it's like, it doesn't matter.
I don't think 0 people were
time.
watching it, though. I don't think 0 people were watching it.
Well, it was weird because you can look at those comments on the YouTube video, and it's like, oh, this theme song is burned in my brain, and I'm like, yeah.
No,
like,
that's
okay.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, I think this was good enough. I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand how it could have been good enough. Is more the problem. Like at the time, there were better things like Thundercats, like Transformers, like things that if you were watching this, it's like, why aren't you just watching Thundercats and Transformers?
But I'll tell you why. Because you didn't have that option.
Right.
You're thinking if you wake up on a Saturday morning, you can just, wander through cable and play the show that you want. But in 1987, you still couldn't do that. That was way off. So there was nothing else. You either watched that, religious services, or Major League Sports. And if you're an 8-year-old kid on a Sunday morning, those are your choices. So you're not going to watch the 700 Club or the fucking, faith healer Ernest Angley or whatever the bullshit. So you're going to watch this. You've got no other choice. You're a captive audience. You're going to eat cereal. And you do want to see those toy commercials. You want to know, hey, I want to get Little Sister.
I want s'mores cereal. That's what I want.
Oh,
s'mores crunch.
I'm still just all about that Light Bright. I never had one of those when I was a kid. And I just, they look so cool.
I had so many Light Brights. We burned through those things. These are products you could never have now. It's like, an incredibly hot light that lights up to the point where you'll go blind or burn your hand. And then we're going to give you a giant bag of chokeable plastic darts that you cram into a pegboard. I mean, these things were not, there's no. But I owned them. They were all over. And boy, and you knew when your parents were vacuuming and they started sucking up a few of those little pegs.
Oh boy.
Oh, you heard about it. Let me tell you, Mom and Dad on their Sunday morning, they weren't too cool about that.
I was very fortunate because around Detroit on WXON Channel 20, they would play a mix of Bowery Boys, Abbott and Costello, and the Blondie movies. So I had those on Sunday morning. Otherwise, I was sunk. Sundays sucked for TV.
Yeah, Sundays were bad. We had Abbott and Costello and Bowery Boys on Saturday. Sunday we had Davy and Goliath. You guys know what that is, right?
Oh yeah. I sure do, Davy.
Yeah, that was the Animagic stop motion.
Art Clokey. That was Gumby's creator doing that. Yep.
But it was the Latter-day Saints. It was Mormons, and it was, we're teaching religious Christian lessons, Davy.
I don't know, Davy. You shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. Davy's, the new kid at school, everyone's making fun of him because he's in a wheelchair. So Davy makes fun of him too. But his talking dog, which is a sign of Satan, must be.
Son of Sam, why don't you? Jesus.
Tells him, don't make fun of your friends. Light them on fire.
Davy, a 360 Magnum will take them out in one shot.
So you've got that. Then you also had a show. Mike, do you remember this thing called Make-A-Wish?
I don't know if I do.
This hippie guy, look it up. There was some hippie guy, and the show made no sense. It wasn't even a show. It was a guy with a guitar or something. And his whole thing was, it was very hippie, Make-A-Wish.
It could have been a local thing because we had things like Hot Fudge, which I don't think made it past like Toledo.
I never had Hot Fudge.
Yeah, that was great because it was a local comedian and a local singer-songwriter, and they had puppets. There was Seymour, the sea monster, I think he was. And
well, now wait a second. Seymour the sea monster. That's Sigmund. I'm thinking about Sigmund.
Yeah, no, Seymour was a different guy. And speaking of hippies, he had like a black top hat that he wore, and it had stuff around the top of it and everything. Yeah, he was very much a hippie creation. But yeah, the guy who was the singer, he ended up doing a couple local commercial jingles. So you would hear him every time like the Dietrich Furs commercial would run. Dietrich Furs.
Did you guys have Dusty's Treehouse?
Does not sound right.
Oh my God. Did you have New Zoo Review?
Yes. No.
Finally.
Gnu's is good Gnu's. Yes.
New Zoo Review.
Zoo.
No.
It's the new Zoo Review, and it's coming home to
Right
you.
at you.
Yeah.
With Doug and Emmy Joe. Every day's a different show.
I was thinking of the Great Space Coaster. Get on board. That was the one
I don't
with
know
Gary
that
Gnu. Oh, yeah. That was probably a little, you're slightly older than me, I think. So I think that would have.
Yes. Slightly older than everybody.
Well, since you guys are older than me, can you answer the question as to what happened to the other two gentlemen in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch family that are no longer visible anymore? Because
they died.
Did you notice that in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial? There are two men who are dancing around with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch man that are no longer used in advertising.
Yeah, that was odd.
Wait, what? I don't know what are you talking about? What is this? What
Cinnamon
did I
Toast
miss?
Crunch has Wendell P. Crunch or whatever the fuck, the guy with like the hat and the glasses now. But in the 80s, there were clearly two other gentlemen who were dancing around with him, like similar to the Keebler elves, clearly. But they're no longer used in advertising. It's just the one. Actually, I guess they don't even use him anymore. It's just the little pieces that dance around now.
Well, I don't
Did
know.
you guys know that Karate Cat had 26 episodes that were mixed by Roy Yokelson for Antland Productions?
I did know that. I did know that.
You knew that because it shows up on screen a few times while we're watching Karate Cat?
Yeah. YouTube wanted us to know that.
I don't know what was happening.
But that was the other weird thing. And I'm not complaining, but it feels like we only got one Karate Cat, and then we got a ass load of the TigerSharks.
Yeah, I was actually kind of disappointed we didn't get to see more Karate Cat, not because it was good, but because I would like to have seen if the other segment was better than the one that they gave us.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, is every week just going to be, this gangster cat with his divorced wife, and they're angry at each other, and Karate Cat gets mixed up in the middle. I'm like,
sounds like something kids would love.
Oh, I know. It's a cat, and he's a private eye, and he's facing off against gangsters. It's very much a film noir, but with cats. Oh,
right, but he's clearly he's stuck in between a divorced couple.
Right.
They're always angry at each other.
The woman looks like a lesbian from what I'm seeing here with that haircut. Or is that like the other bad gangster, or is she the ex-wife?
The other bad gangster.
Okay.
Yeah. And she is like a stocky cat. And then there's two sort of slim, willowy cats.
Oh, right.
Who stand around behind her. So I don't know. You might be right. They never really got into the reasons they got divorced. I don't know if she discovered something about her sexuality. I don't know. They didn't get into it.
Okay. Yeah.
She probably wasn't a huge fan of Fruit Wrinkles.
Okay.
There was a commercial when we were watching this for Fruit Wrinkles because, we couldn't call them raisins.
You were referring to the male Fruit Wrinkle.
Yes.
I mean, that's got to be the other reason they weren't selling it, was because a fruit wrinkle sounds like a ball sack. That is what it sounds like. I mean, it sounds like a euphemism. Don't touch your fruit wrinkle at the table.
I genuinely was all about the TigerSharks myself.
Really?
Just because it's so freaking bizarre. Just like seeing these quote unquote normal people being transformed into, like, when the woman's head turned into the octopus and when the fat guy turned into the walrus, I'm just like, wow. Okay. Sign me up. And that the planet's name is Watero, and that they're being plagued by this hammerhead shark guy with his very Gollum-esque henchman. I was there for it, man. I loved it.
The Gollum-esque henchman is my favorite part of TigerShark, because that is just the Gollum design.
Totally.
It's not.
They just needed Brother Theodore being like, hobbitses. Yeah.
It is every single 80s cartoon cliche rolled into one. They have cool transforming things. They transform themselves. There's a couple of them in the group. They're all of different sizes. This does something that TMNT, well, I guess April O'Neil, but TMNT up until, the early 2000s didn't have a female member. They have a female member, which is closer to a Thundercat. It just feels all very derivative, but not like in a bad way. I mean, it was the most cartoony of any of the thing. It was the most thing that had things happening because, Street Frogs was pretty, as fun as the theme song was, and the theme song might be the best part, it was very boring. At least you couldn't say TigerSharks was boring. No. It was just, like you said, actually fucking like a fever dream.
Oh, it totally was.
And it had that look. It was like a very distinct look.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I will
Japanimation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like we're a fighting force of some kind, and there were 10,000 things like it. And I'll give them that as we moved through the 2-hour block of cartoons, like if this is how it aired, it started with the youngest, and then got maybe a little older, and then a little older, and then a little older, so that as the kids who are awake at 6 a.m. as opposed to the kids who are awake at 8:30, it's like, okay, the one you're watching at 9:30 a.m. is aged up a little bit compared to the one that was on at 8 a.m. So there may have been some interior logic to that, and it's more about this is serious. We're not goofing around and saying funny things. We're fighting the evil whatever. So but here's my problem though, because it was the fourth of 4. I had been so beaten down and demoralized.
I know. Yeah.
That I couldn't take it. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. If I just like watched one a day, I'm sure I could have come to the TigerSharks with a feeling of, okay, this sucks, but at least it's insane.
Well,
yeah, I really felt like I was having a fever dream watching it.
And for me, by the end of it, I was like, okay, I mean, if any of the things deserve to be their own thing outside of this, it's probably TigerSharks because it has the most viability. But then again, like you mentioned, Richard, and like you kind of already alluded to, Mike, like there was so much other shit like this going on. It's like, how are you going to compete other than, it's underwater and they're dolphins and sharks and walrus, like as opposed to anthropomorphic, frogs, even in this show's own case, or anthropomorphic turtles. Like, and that's the thing. It's there's nothing about this that's anything unique. It's just, it's different, which is the benefit. I don't understand how they showed this, because this 90-minute thing was in syndication, but then the show was only for 20 minutes. So was it just, I guess it was one of each? And there are 4, so they only had one an episode of each of these. So,
but the other ones were short. Yeah, like Mini Monsters was not 20-minute episodes, were they?
It was three episodes stuck in there. Yeah,
right.
Well, like 3 10-minute episodes or 8-minute episodes with commercials.
Well, and I wonder if this show, if you watch the original version, if it was like a 3-minute Mini Monsters episode, a 5-minute, and like each one kind of had a differing length as well to take advantage of it. Because does a Mini Monsters episode need to be more than 5 minutes? No, I don't even think it needs to be that long. But this necessitates it because it's trying to actually tell a story and give the characters a moment to do things. But I think to your point, Richard, I watched it all at once and then I came back to it and rewatched each of the segments. It doesn't really help because you have to, like you said, keep in mind that people were watching this all at one chunk. So if you got to the 4th one, you probably were like, I'm kind of done. No matter of, like regardless of how you watched it. But I mean, watching it all at once will not make that any easier.
But that's the joke of what television watching was up until the turn of the century, which was you watched what was on when it was on.
Commercials and all.
Yeah.
Commercials and all. And you didn't have a choice. So again, if you're a kid, you're and you're 12, you're going to sit through an hour of Karate Cat to get to the cool Tiger Shark that you like. And then the other kids are going to watch up until the point where they just simply lose interest. And it's like, well, I like the frogs, but I don't care about the criminal cats. So I guess I have to go play with my light bright in my room alone and burn myself.
That's when you're using your what was that? The oven, the Bakewell oven, Easy Bake oven, yes,
or the creepy crawler machine too.
Oh,
or the vacuum, or the vacuum form machine as well. Those were all hyper dangerous things that have been toned down in recent years. Thankfully,
yes.
Well, there
were those color forms or whatever that you had to stick in the oven. They would shrink.
Oh, the shrinky dinks. Those were shrinky dinks.
Yeah, I had those. I had those as a kid.
They still had that. Chris, did they have super elastic bubble plastic when you were a kid?
No.
Mike, do you remember super elastic bubble plastic?
I remember the name for sure.
Yeah, you'd get this goo like out of a tube that I'm sure was just 90% cancer. and you'd squeeze it out of a tube, and it was this like weird sticky plastic, and you'd put a glob of it on the end of a hard straw.
And then blow
Right,
into it and
then
make a
blow.
bubble.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
a weird paisley.
I had that. Yeah, that stuff
Yeah.
smelled very toxic.
Didn't it? Like you, I thought I was like, it's like, oh, but don't breathe it in too much or you'll get high.
Don't breathe it in as you're expected to blow into the end of a straw that it's connected to.
Yes, I mean, you're
Exactly.
interacting with it through your lungs, and it's called super elastic bubble plastic. And yeah, but they were kind of like the bubble had some solidity to it. Like you could sort of
Yeah.
like, you could sort of
Right.
move, like catch it and then throw it. You know, it was weird.
Yeah, I think I probably grew up on a lot of similar things to not y'all, but like the cartoons and stuff. Like, I don't know, kids today are watching cartoons and stuff like they used to, which is perfectly fine. I mean, YouTube exists and you can do whatever the hell you want, watch whatever you want. But I do remember being beholden to the, Saturday morning offerings. I mean, again, I think after a certain age, that's not a thing anymore for a certain group of people. But I think my generation can empathize with that feeling for sure.
They're definitely still watching cartoons, just so you know. They might be taking them in a different way, like
That's
through
more what I
Netflix.
allude to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, my granddaughters will watch Coco Melon on Netflix.
Right.
But then, they'll turn on, luckily there's on demand, so you can watch like a whole bunch of Bluey all in a row, or you can just watch like a Bluey block on Disney Plus or something. So they're not Disney Plus, Disney Kids. So they will watch stuff through cable. But now, like you were saying, Richard, like there's Nick, there's Nick Jr., there's Disney, there's this, there's that, there's all these things. So you can watch a lot of stuff on demand. And yeah, like so many kids will use like their parents' phone, or they get a tablet and they'll watch stuff through that. So so many more ways of watching this. But the programming itself is very similar to what we had when we were kids. Like Blue's Clues and these kind of things are now things like Blippi, or you've got your
or Bluey for that matter.
Yeah, Bluey. You've got Bluey's amazing. You've got so many different just cartoon types. I mean, even I guess you could say like Paw Patrol is basically like this TigerSharks show. It's very similar as far as having the team of dogs that do all these things together, and they each have their specialty.
Yeah, and kids still, because of the way they're growing up, I mean, they're all going to preschool or school together, so they will talk about what they watch, and then the other kids will seek that out and watch it. I know, like, as far as I know, one of the last big shows, and it was only because parents liked it too, but Phineas and Ferb was a show created by a friend of mine.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Dan Povenmire, and it's like, okay, kids love it. It's got a level of humor that's stepped up. Adults find it clever and funny.
Very clever, very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there is, like, I kind of want to say, well, kids don't have this shared experience, but they do. They do.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about that stuff and stuff on Nickelodeon a little, decade earlier. They all watch the same stuff at a certain point because they're all talking to each other.
Yeah, I should clarify. I more meant like watching it on a Saturday morning on TV. Like that, just don't see that being a thing. Like, I know that they're watching cartoons. It's just like this shared experience of not having anything else on a Saturday morning is not. It's not a thing.
True.
Like, not if you could just get your phone or your mom's phone or your dad's phone or your iPad that they bought you for Christmas and just watch whatever the hell you want. Like, you're never going to be bombarded with commercials, and you're never going to be bombarded with stuff like this because, again, like this would have been separated as their own thing, standalones, and probably by putting the four of these things together, it's either them tacitly agreeing none of them are strong enough to stand on their own, or they're attempting to spin them off on their own by doing this, and clearly neither of those things work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, guys. Before we head out, Chris, what are you working on these days, sir?
Just everything that I'm working on is over Weirding Way Media, which is primarily podcasts, though I did write an article in a zine recently about some Indian cinema. But just weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can find the audio things that I work on. So,
and Mr. Haddam, now that the strike's over, what are you up to?
Just sitting by the phone.
Good.
Waiting to get called back into action to fight crime the way I've been trained.
You can do hip hop better than a frog can, Richard, apparently.
So next month, guys, we're coming back. We're going to talk about Pinocchio's Christmas and the new adventures of Pinocchio. It is our last official-ish episode, then we'll do one more where we just kind of wrap up this whole experience. So come on back. Be sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Before we head out, I want to thank Abby Stabby for our artwork, as well as the Great Octopus for our theme music. Until you hear from us again, be sure to rate and review the show, tell your friends, tell your family, and please stay weird.